Hello and welcome. Thanks for joining me. I'm Mike Sheffield, and today we're taking a look at the Oracle Enterprise Manager plugin for PostgreSQL, brought to you by the folks at Integration Plumbers. For today's video, we'll be taking a look at some of the out-of-the-box content that comes with this plugin for Enterprise Manager, including clusters, nodes, tables, and indexes. Let's get started. Jumping over to our demo environment here, we can see I'm just at the All Targets section of Oracle Enterprise Manager, and I can click and find our Postgres. Here, if I click on target type, we can see I have a couple other plugins installed for Microsoft SQL Server and for MySQL. Today, we're just going to be looking at PostgreSQL, however. So we'll go ahead and click on our cluster. And all of our clusters, if we had multiple, would be listed here. We only have one in our environment, so we'll click on that just so we can get the relevant statistics here. Once this comes up, we can see our availability history over the last 24 hours on the far left, as well as all the nodes that are part of this cluster. We can see their availability, uptime, the node state, any alerts that might be happening, as well as any connections that are happening with that within those nodes. We can also see all of our incidents and problems, any alerts, and the severity, as well as the time since those were last updated. We also get at the bottom here our cluster replication, so we can see write lag, replay lag, data lag, as well as any of the states or sync states that our replication is currently in. If I wanted to view any of these nodes, I could go back to all targets and again look for PostgreSQL databases, or I can click directly from this screen as well to get to our particular nodes. Now we're on the overview screen for this particular node. On the left-hand side, we can see any unused indexes, our backend usage, including available connections, or any prepared transactions. In the middle, we see the status of the plugin itself, letting us know that data is flowing and the plugin is collecting. On the far right, we can see our server configuration, including version information, where our data folder is at, as well as the path to our configuration file. Let's pause for a second and talk about this configuration file just for a moment. If we click on the configuration from the navigation menu over here on the left, we can see all of the different parameters within our configuration file. If we click on any of these particular parameters, we can see what our data type is, as well as our valid values from one number to another, as well as what this would be if we reboot or reset what the value would go to. Switching back to our overview screen again for this particular node. Moving further down the page, we can see our availability history over the last 24 hours, any alerts or incidents or problems with this particular node, and any related targets, including the severity level, the actual target, as well as the time since the last update. Moving further down the page, we have all of our backends, which includes process ID, our user IDs, as well as the start time for any of these processes, so we can find any particularly long-running processes. Moving further down the page yet, we have our replication information again, same as at the cluster level, this time on the node level. We can see our background writer information. In this case, we're looking at requested checkpoints and scheduled checkpoints. We can change our dates here. Right now we're looking at the last day, but we can change this to last week, last month, or use custom date controls. And we can switch our metric here. If we want to look at something different than that, we can look at our buffers, for example. We can also see our connections over time. We have the same date controls here for the various databases within this particular node. And lastly, on this page, we have our agent performance metrics and disk usage for our agents. Now, this particular plugin, you can install agents on every host in order to grab information like CPU utilization, memory utilization, throughput, disk information, or this can be collected remotely. Ours at the moment is actually installed on an EC2 instance in AWS, so it is collecting all this information remotely, and therefore we'll get the information on that particular host. Moving further down our navigation pane on the left, we come to our real-time section, and this has two parts. We can either look at our current locks, or we can look at our vacuums in progress. If we click on our locks, we're going to be able to see our blocked PIDs, as well as the blocking PID, our blocked queries, as well as blocking queries, blocked state, as well as blocking state, as well as usernames, and if any locks have been granted. If we check on the vacuums in progress, we'll then see information around these vacuums that are currently ongoing at the moment, including our heaps blocks total, the heap blocks scanned, vacuumed, our percent vacuumed, as well as our backend type. Moving further down our navigation tree, we come to the databases themselves. If I click on a database here, we can see there are 4 sections: the database, tables, indexes, and currently running queries. If we want to click in any of these sections, we can see, for example, our database size versus index sizes here. We can see our database size over time. And if we want to change this particular metric, we can click on the drop down and change this then to any other metric we wanted to see. There are row access counts here. We could change to transactions, blocks read, blocks hit, and our read and write time on blocks as well. If we go to our tables section, we get information around the tables themselves. We can see our tables in the pie chart at the top. We can then see scan counts is what comes up first, but we can also change this metric as well. We can change this from scans. We can look at rows fetched, updated, deleted, live and dead rows, our table maintenance, anything we want to change to. And then again, these metrics all have the same date controls as before. We can look at our last day, our last week, last month, or change to custom date controls. We can also, at the bottom here, see our table details, and we can change our metrics depending on what table we're looking at just by clicking on the tables below in this particular table, and this will change then our statistics at the top. If we look at our indexes, we'll bring up our index sizing as well as the relevant statistics just around our indexes. We can look at, again, index scans, index entries read, table rows fetched, our disk blocks. And in the same way we did before with the tables, we can change which index we're looking at just by clicking on the section below in the table. If we look at queries, this will give us then the currently running queries. I don't believe there's any running currently in our environment, but if there was any, this would show us then our PIDs, the query itself, what database it's running on, the username, and the total time that it took to run these potential running queries. So far, we've just looked at some of the curated content that comes with this plugin. These dashboards contain some relevant information and relevant statistics or metrics around what we thought was important. But if there are other metrics you wanted to view, you could also go and look at all of the metrics all at one time to see anything that might have been in these curated dashboards. For example, if I wanted to see something around our databases, I could look at something, say, committed transactions per hour, and just look at the information that's presented here. It'll give us the average value, low value, high value, all of the relevant things we need. If I click on any of these database IDs, then it will below show us this metric value history and give us just that particular metric for that particular database. And it works the same with all of these metrics you wanted to use. Well, that's all I wanted to show for today. We reached the end of our journey. That was just a quick overview into the PostgreSQL plugin from Integration Plumbers. For more information, you can always visit integrationplumbers.io/software to schedule a demo, request a trial, or you can always email us at sales@integrationplumbers.io. And be sure to check out the next video in this series, which is all about setting alert thresholds and monitoring templates within Enterprise Manager. Thanks again for joining, and hope you have a great rest of your day.